callers in this segment with Richard Gage of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. It's ae911truth.org. And before we do that, Richard, why don't you tell people about the different DVDs that you have? I believe you have an hour-long version, a 30-minute version, and a 10-minute version?
Yeah, that's our new DVD. It's called the Companion DVD, and it has all of those different lengths of abridged versions on it of the 2-hour DVD, which is separate, and it's called the Research Edition. So both, you can get a $10 discount for buying both of them at our website, ae911truth.org.
All right, let's go to Philip in Texas. Philip, what's on your mind?
Why did your wife leave you?
Oh, goodbye, buddy. See, we have these stalkers that continue to call the program, people that literally tell family members of 9/11 Truth that they're evil people and they need to kill themselves. People who send offensive material to the office here. I'm not even going to, tell you what that gentleman, and that's using the term rather lightly and loosely, sent to the office the other day. But, dude, get a life. I mean, it's 10:30 my time. It's 11:30 Eastern time where you live. Go spend some time with your wife and kids, please. Let's go to Jason in California. Jason, you're on the line. Yes, sir.
Hey, man. Forget about the last caller. Just don't even waste your time with those type of people. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to comment about the thermal hotspots under the World Trade Center debris. Mm-hmm. NASA took infrared images of the World Trade Center 5 days after the 9/11 event on the 16th, and they recorded heat signatures analyzed by USGS that exceeded 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit. And they even admit that the temperatures were much higher than recorded due to the hotspots only being about 20% at most of the spatial resolution of 1 pixel on the remote sensing device used.
Mm-hmm. So that would indicate, why don't you explain that to us, Richard? That would basically indicate, and I thank you for the call, that these 1,300 degree temperatures that were recorded were actually much hotter and more involved.
Well, they're recording surface temperatures 5 days after the collapse of the building. Mm-hmm. Problem is, and these are the hottest temperatures, 1,300 to 1,400 degrees, the hottest temperatures that fires get to, office fires. Mm-hmm. And yet there's no office fire or any other kind of fire on the surface. So what the hell are they measuring? We're measuring the radiant heat from all of this molten metal that we've been talking about earlier from deep down within the basement, 5, 6 stories down. Mm-hmm. So it's direct proof, which obviously had to have been at least 2 or 3 times as hot as these radiant surface temperatures. It is, as your caller suggests, direct proof of extremely hot temperatures not accountable by normal office fires or jet fuel. Jet fuel doesn't burn any hotter than desks or chairs.
And remember, these fires were not put out until late December, which is just unprecedented, correct?
Yeah, they persisted quite long. It was actually quite a mystery. It's a problem for the official story.
And where was this latest fire where it was literally a 50-plus story skyscraper that was engulfed like a bullet of flames? And the thing was even built kind of weird where it was offset and it looked like it was kind of, bent over to the side. That didn't fall, did it?
No, you're referring to the CCTV building in Beijing, mm-hmm. which is 44 stories and completely engulfed in flames for 5 hours at least. And it does not collapse either. No steel frame high-rise building has ever collapsed due to fire. In fact, on the World Trade Center ground zero, we have Building 5, which was I think a 5 or 6 or 7 story building, mm-hmm. completely engulfed in flames. From you would think if any steel frame structure was going to melt, it would be that one. Come down. But it doesn't.
No, it does not. And, that building that we just talked about in Beijing, it didn't have any molten metal coming off of it either. Yet, in the video evidence from World Trade Center Building 1, I think it is, the second tower to go down, I'm not 100%, but we have the video of the molten metal flowing from the corner of the building like a foundry, again going down 20 and 40 and 60 floors before you see it dissipating.
We're told by NIST that this has to be melted aluminum from the jet airplane. Mm-hmm. But the problem is when you melt aluminum and pour it out, it looks like melted aluminum. It's silvery. It doesn't glow bright orange, bright yellow in daylight conditions at all. So it can't possibly be that. So they are stuck once again.
And yes, Stephen Jones, your colleague, has done extensive experimentation proving this. And that's why, I am big into telling people to go and check out Richard Gage's information, Stephen Jones's information, Kevin Ryan of Underwriters Laboratories information, because that initial investigation by Underwriters Laboratories, they set up a whole floor just like the World Trade Center. They admittedly tried to burn the steel beams for longer periods of time at hotter temperatures, and the best they could do is get the floors to sag. They did not display the same kinds of things we saw on 9/11, did they?
No, in fact, they only sagged about 3 to 4 inches in this highly controlled experiment that NIST hired Underwriter Laboratories to test under ASTM E119. And Kevin Ryan lost his job as a manager at Underwriter Laboratories for making this public. He's a whistleblower. And this is a huge problem. What does NIST do with this experimental test data? They throw it out the window and claim that it sagged 42 inches and use that in their computer data. It's a complete fabrication. They even acknowledge that they do it.
Is that true? Where is that information that they say? Is that in the final report? They say it sagged 42 inches when the initial Underwriters Laboratory report only said 3?
That's right. They use that as the data in their inputs, and they acknowledge it.
That is unbelievable. I mean, that is beyond. That's 14 times as much sagging as was reported. 3 inches to 42 inches. Completely unbelievable. James in Kentucky, you're on the line.
Yes, Jason. I like truth, 9/11 truth. But there's some uncovered things that y'all don't talk about. I don't know if y'all have any aware of or not. You want to know about it?
Go ahead.
The papacy in Rome.
And what does the papacy in Rome have to do with 9/11 truth, sir?
Well, it has to do with the Jews. It shows on YouTube a movie, like a moving reel. Them shaking hands with Hitler and doing the hand sign.
What? All right. We got the schizophrenics calling back. I try to screen the calls for Richard Gage, but, COINTELPRO and them trying to associate us with white supremacists just continue and continue and continue. The Nazis hate me, and the mainstream media hates me because I don't want to blame the Jews. Can I just get your feeling on this latest shooting? And I don't know if you saw the Glenn Beck commentary, but I got it posted over at the Infowarrior.com, where he literally says that this guy is a quote-unquote hero to 9/11 truth. Zero truth to that. There's not one website out there. Let's talk about how architects and engineers for 9/11 truth especially have been demonized by the mainstream media and organizations like the Simon Wiesenthal Center.
Yeah, and let's just also acknowledge that before we go to Simon Wiesenthal, that we have our own president, Obama, who's saying that let's face it, Al-Qaeda murdered 3,000 people on 9/11. These are questions to be not to be debated, but facts to be dealt with.
That's right.
So he's clearly being forced to deal with the overwhelming grassroots revolution, really, in this country against the lies that we've been told from both administrations about 9/11.
And let's not forget, he also says those that would question or justify the attack. So, see, he tries to manipulate people into thinking those who would question what happened on 9/11 are trying to justify the murder of 3,000 plus American citizens, when that's not the case at all, blurring the line further.
Yeah, as if we're also justifying them somehow. It's like, what's going on here? And why does Jane Harman's committee on the subcommittee of the Homeland Security have the Rand Corporation, who specialize in counterterrorism, counsel Mark Wiesenthal of the Simon Wiesenthal Center on how to put together a PowerPoint presentation to convince members of her committee that we need a homegrown terrorism act that's designed to cut down on the internet, because it's being used, after all, by these violent jihadists, which he shows one after the other, and then sandwiched right in there is the good old architects and engineers for 9/11 truth, as if we're one of them.
It's completely insane. And one of the stories that I covered today was that, they're always catching the number 2 and number 3 Al-Qaeda member. Ever since 2002, they always catch the number 2 or number 3 guy. This is Washington Post, mainline news, CIA mistaken on high-value detainee documents show the number 3 man in the organization that they were saying in 2002 was an innocent Pakistani. Oh, he only had to be waterboarded 83 times. Abu Zubaydah. So they always throw out these boogeymen, and they never turn out to be the actual guys they're saying they are, but it's all about protecting us from Al-Qaeda and 9/11 truth. Remember, Glenn Beck said we would work with anybody to destroy this country. Simply disgusting. Paul in Wisconsin, you're on the air.